Hello everyone, my name is Vitaly, V-I-T-A-L-I-Y. I am founder and head instructor of One with Nature Survival School. I think it's a time to make a video and address the current situation which is going on for the last 4 days. After we published advertising in the newspaper about our land application, 4 days ago, we received unprecedented amount of hate and different kind of aggressive messages and accusations that we want to destroy nature, we want to steal the land, and so on and so on. As a result, my instructors feel unsafe in the community. They ask me to remove them from the website. The Google reviews that was perfect before the situation was destroyed by people who never get our service. And a lot of journalists contact me and asking to do the interviews and explain what's going on and so on. That's a crazy 4 days. However, I still believe I try to do a good thing, and this video is for people. This video is for people who politely asking the questions. Also, I want to say huge thank you for people who supporting us, who know what we're doing, and I have not a single person who get our service before and contact us and say, listen, you do a wrong thing. You should not do that. Let's start the story from the beginning. In 2020, I opened Wilderness Survival School because I'm practicing my wilderness survival skills for entire life. I have a passion for that. I was learning from the native people in the different countries, and I was practicing survival skills in different geographical locations, different climates, different countries. And I decided to share that skills, help people to connect to the nature without damaging it. You don't need to cut any live tree to build a shelter. You don't need destroy the grass or plants even like for food. You can ethically collect materials and ethically use everything in the wilderness to stay there sustainably. That was my passion, and I decided to open the school in 2020. And I understood that if I want to train, I need a field. I found a private land just by walking in the chosen and knocking to the doors and asking people who will allow us to run the programs. And there was a very kind person who allowed us to train people there, and right now we do the programs there. However, that area is developing. There's a lot of urban noise, there's a lot of roads, and which is not make a feelings of the wilderness. And the most important thing to inspire kids, to inspire adults, to respect wilderness, to respect nature, you need to demonstrate it. You need to show it by example, not by destroying anything. That's why I was start to searching what is the way to train people on the public land. And there's no legal way without permits to go with clients on the public land and do anything there, even walk there. It's only way to make application and get the license for going in that specific area and train people there. That's why I start to do research and try to find a piece of land. We spent 3 months to find and analyze all options is available. we found a piece of land which is a public land is available for application. When I checked the location, I was surprised. I said, no way, it is a park. Then we contact provincial government and we request details. We ask, can you confirm that this piece of land is appropriate for our application and for the purpose what we want to do? We get 2 confirmations and we have a record of it, that we allow to do that application. Then I decide, okay, let's try. Because we don't have any other options, we can apply for this land. If you believe it is easy to just go around, there's tons of land around, try to do the search. You will be surprised. There's no other options. So right now, I have only one option. We request all instructions and proper way and legal way how to do the application. And we follow all instructions provided by British Columbia government. We contact First Nations, and we have records of that, based on the instructions what was provided. Then, in 2024 and 2023, we contacted CRD 3 times. And we discussed if there's a possible to get the permit to walk on the trail to that land to be able to do the training. And CRD answered us that yes, but you need to do the application for permit to pass the trail. We say, okay, can we do that now? They say, no, you're not confirmed that you're going to be getting that land and you have no rights to apply for it. After you get the land, then you can apply for permit for use the trail. But I want to clarify, we plan to use this trail only for the purpose of emergency, because the main access to the land planned through the water. That's why we have a boat dock. This is the best way to prevent any disruption of the nature by walking, by driving, by developing any roads. That's why we decide to apply for boat dock as well. When we get the confirmation from British Columbia government, we did the application, and the application in the BC province was approved. Then the application was sent to the land officer, who have to review that application. Land officer contact us, ask all the details about the connection with First Nation. We explain everything, we disclose everything, and they say CRD is gonna be against it. I say, okay, we contact CRD twice and I can have the conversation. And land officers say, okay, you just need to get the confirmation from CRD first that they okay with that. I contact CRD, I had the conversation, and I ask, what do you need to approve and do that application for us? CRD respond, oh, provide us all documents. I said, no problem. I designed the folder with all application details. I send it to CRD, and CRD contacts say, have you heard back from First Nation? I said, no, unfortunately we didn't. Could you give us advice or recommendation? How can we contact First Nation? We already did. We already provide them all the information. But I think it's inappropriate to just go straight away in their office and asking. CRD responded, we don't know. We have no recommendation how to communicate or how to get the response from First Nation. Then I say, okay, I will contact land officer and ask them how can I request the opinion from the First Nation about activities we plan to do there. Land officer responded that it is a province responsibility to connect you with First Nation, and let's continue the application. Let's do the other steps, and then we will guide you and help you. So we simply follow all recommendations and all instructions that provided by officials. I am absolutely simple guy. I am not the guy who has like millions of dollars who can go and buy the land. So I just try to teach and help people to be connected to the nature and being able to learn outdoor skills in affordable situation. You say, what is affordable? We even run the free programs. I do that. I try to help, and you can check all the previous history. We not start 3 programs right now. We started at the beginning of our career, and you can see the reviews and feedbacks from the free programs. That's we try to help community and help to educate outdoor enthusiasts to prevent any unexpected situation in the wilderness, to not being lost, to not make wildfire, to prevent any conflict with wildlife. Around a week ago, we received instructions for the next steps. That we need to publish advertising and we need to do the staking on the land. We follow the instructions, we publish everything, and now we have the situation when public believe that we want to steal everything, we want to steal the land, we want to have that land as our property. Again, this is lease. First, for intensive use. Intensive use application only for one reason, to be able to lock our gear. You're not allowed to put the lock on anywhere if you don't have intensive use site. Because it is extensive use site is a publicly shared area. You cannot put the lock on any doors. As a result, we found the area, we applied for extensive use, we applied for intensive use, and we use the specific approach. I want to show you, and we use specific approach in that project. First, the boat dock for the purpose to not develop any roads, to prevent disruption of the nature. A lot of people are asking, why you need that much land? I want to explain to you, that's what I want to do to prevent disruption of the nature. It's called rotation approach. I just want to show you example. If 100 people is walking at the same path, there will be everything destroyed, very deep trail, no vegetation. If the same 100 people will walk all in a different paths, nothing will be gonna be injured, and all the nature will be nice and fresh. That approach I want to implement in that project. I don't want to teach people in the same spot, because just by sitting or staying on the ground we will destroy all the grass. I want to teach people every time a different location. Why we have 7 washrooms? Because if it will be 1 washroom, there will be mess. If you do the 7 small, it's not huge building, it's not concrete. It is just containers which have to be marked, because it's a legal requirements. I have to mark everything on the map. That's 7 small containers can be replaced. We don't need any septics in that situation. We can take the container, put that in a boat, remove it, and bring a new back, put it there, and everything nice and clean. There's nothing damaged in the nature. So my approach is to use that rotational approach for the purpose to not damage any nature. And we don't plan, it's in the project, it's saying we don't plan to build everything straight away. We plan to build one thing and start to use it, and when it starts to be like wearing any grass or nature around, we can move in another area. And the plan of building everything, it may take 10 years. Maybe we'll never build all that stuff because we don't need all that buildings, all that constructions. And again, the buildings is not concrete buildings. It is primitive technology. As we're teaching people how to build a shelter, we want to teach the people how with axe and saw build the roof, how to build the logging cabin if they need. So it is a very primitive, very standard, like old school way, which is absolutely natural. We try to minimize any impact. So all the dead trees can be used for that purpose. Let's start from extensive and intensive use. Why we apply for intensive use? Again, only for purpose to being able to lock our gear. There's no other legal way to put the logs in the wilderness or in the public land without the license of intensive use application. So we have two applications. This is the entire trail. The blue is a trail line. And this from here, this is where trail starting. Red one is a washroom. There's another washroom. I have a question for you later. Extensive use area is only area which allow us to walk with our clients there. We're not allowed to build any structure. We're not allowed to do there any activities, only walk and teach the plants and different species. So this land is shared land. We have no rights to any access or limit access. So then a lot of people ask you, wait a minute, you have intensive use application. It's saying that you will limit access because we want to put the lock on our gear. Without saying, if I want to build here the lock with our gear, I cannot just say, oh, there will be public access. If I put the lock, I am limiting public access. But it doesn't mean I want to put the fence there. And it's only legal way to lock anything there is to do intensive use application. And that field is 6 acres. You will ask, why 6 acres? Why you need 6 acres? Again, the rotation is perspective. I try to not stay on the same spot and destroy everything. I try to do in a different location trainings. That's why you see on the map is areas is going around, because we want to change location for every training. We have the programs which is limiting 8 people per session. It is very small groups, very little people, and we actually not doing any profit. I can post my tax forms and you will see that. So the difference is between, some people say, oh, you have for-profit organization. Could you tell me what the difference in the profit organization or non-profit organization? Non-profit organization paying themselves salary like this, putting all the profit in the salary, and that's it. Profit organization is doing the same thing, only showing the profit and paying taxes if they have profit. But in this small scale business, how many people I need to have in the school to make any profit? I am paying instructors, I am buying all the equipment, I am spending for all transportation and so on. There's no way to do a crazy profit like most of people thinking. So, go back about the trail. No, we don't plan to put any fence. I am ready to sign agreement that we don't plan to put the fence or limit access for the park or the trail. So this is a public land legally. I understand your perspective. I understand your concern. It is inside the park. But give me a second. Just could you explain to me what the problem to teach and inspire kids and adults to be connected to the nature in the most beautiful area if you do and use the land properly, if you do everything to protect it? Now the time to answer other questions. Very common question: why you can't teach people in the classroom or developing area? I think I already answered the question. You cannot teach navigation, how to read terrain in the classroom. It's impossible. It's a practical skills. You need to be in the wilderness. And how you can inspire young people to enjoy wilderness without wilderness? Just by wording? That doesn't work. They need to practice, they need to understand, they need to be involved in the process. Second question, do you limit access to the park? Of course not. As I explained, we're not limiting any access to the park. Second question, why? Why our park? Why the most beautiful area? Is our kids, next generation is our kids. Should we inspire them to spend the time? I definitely agree, and I am following the approach, leave no trace. And this is our principle. We try to teach our next generations how to not make wildfire. Or there's a fire hazard, or you have fire pit on your application. Yes, if you want to teach how to make the fire, you cannot do that on the land. It doesn't mean that we will sit near a fire and make a campfire. You need to have fire pit to make a friction fire or start the fire, even small fire. But it's going to be manageable. It will be properly done. How we can do that without permit to get that land? Or why you not doing another land? Why you not going in a different place? Again, try to check any land available for application. There's a none. And that was the only option which we found for 3 months, and we applied for that because it was available. And we didn't avoid any system, we didn't cheat, we just did exactly instructions which is legally saying what you should do. Why do you need a board dock? So the board dock is here. And the board dock has only one purpose: to bring supplies and bring the clients. That's it. We don't want to develop any roads. We don't want to build any additional hazards or destruction or traffic here. We want to bring everything by the boat. And actually, it's from Marina here. It's even closer than walk through the trail. So this is only purpose of the boat dock. And the boat dock will be lifted up at the time when we're not there. When we're not there, the dock will be lifted up and locked. That's again, to do that, you need intensive use application, which is saying if I'm putting the lock in the boat dock, I have to say legally that there will be limited public access because people cannot unlock it and use it. That's only reason why we do intensive use application, and that's only reason why we're saying there will be limitation for public access, because we'll have a lock here, lock there to protect our gear and equipment. And now I have a question for the community, for people who against of it. Could you tell me what we're going to destroy? Are we going to destroy and build as a concrete buildings? No. We try to inspire, yes, in the beautiful area, because our kids, young generation, is everything what's gonna be in the future. The best way to protect the nature is through education. That's my personal belief, and that's what I try to do, and I think I do the right thing. However, I don't know why people are saying I'm destroying something. I don't plan to destroy anything. I don't plan to lock the access, and I'm ready to sign an agreement where I will say no limit access for the trails. There's no questions. Yes, there will be limit access to our gear, but sorry, it is our gear. We need to store it to keep practicing and keep teaching people. And let me ask a question for people who hate and think everything we do, the damaging. So this is a one washroom. It's the start of at the beginning of the trail. There is another washroom. Between them, 8 kilometers. Could you tell me where you're going in the washroom in the middle of the trail? Why it's gonna be bad if we have washroom, if that's we'll allow to use when people walking on the trail? Probably going in the bush for washroom, that's hurt nature. But transporting and removing and cleaning and doing everything appropriately is helping nature, not destroying it. And then at the end of the video, I would like to ask to reconsider your approach. Ask polite questions. I am open for communication. I'm open for discussion. I had a meeting today with CRD, and I told that I am open for any options available. But unfortunately, I have only one option, and which is available today. And I will proceed with that. And if you believe that the best way to protect the nature is through education, please support our application, and I will attach the link or in the description section. And please go there and leave your opinion. Are you supporting that or are you against of that? And if you have any questions, feel free to write in the comments, to reach me, and I am open to discuss. I'm open for all journalists. I'm open for anybody who want to have a polite, respectful conversation. And thank you for your attention, and thank you for your support.